Welcome to Unity Palo Alto's online service. We are a part of a worldwide movement of prayer, publishing, and education, teaching positive, practical spiritual principles that you can apply every day to help you live a more joyful and abundant life. Unity is a spiritual movement. We're welcoming, inclusive, and wherever you are on your spiritual path, you are welcome here. We have 5 core principles that help us on our path, which will be shown on the screen. There or there, that one. Yeah. God is. There is only one power and presence active in our lives, and that is God, the good, omnipotent. Our second principle is I am. God is the substance and intelligence innate in every person and all of creation. Our third principle is the law of mind action. Thoughts in mind produce after their kind. We have the ability to affect our world through positive affirmations. And our fourth principle is the prayer and meditation practice. This connects us with the constructive and creative power of God that works in and through and as us. And lastly, you got to walk the walk, that practical application. As we live according to these truths daily, we become who we were created to be, images of God, which Unity calls the Christ. I love those. All right. So these 5 core principles guide us in living out our vision statement, which I would invite you to affirm with me. I'm going to say it once, and then we can say it all together. Centered in God, we co-create a world that works for all. Together, centered in God, we co-create a world that works for all. And so it is. Oh, I can almost hear you through the screen. Thank you. Now for a reading from the daily word. Today's daily word is kindness. And our affirmation is, I flow with divine love as I give and receive kindness. The word kindness triggers feelings of warmth, connection, and love in my heart. I smile as I recall ways that friends, family members, and others have shown me kindness. I feel again the gratitude and blessing I experienced in these moments. Gratitude, love, and a beautiful awareness of connection fill my heart and mind in a remarkably similar way when I remember kindness I've shared. The movement of electrons through a wire creates a current, a flow. As kindness moves from person to person, it creates a flow of divine love. Both giving and receiving are essential to this current of love. So I look for opportunities to share acts of kindness. I welcome with a grateful heart the kindness others share with me. From Micah chapter 6, verse 8, what does the Lord require of you but to do justice and to love kindness and to walk humbly with your God? I am so grateful this morning, especially grateful to have wonderful, amazing, fantastical Martha Creek back here. She's a beloved favorite of ours here at Unity Palo Alto and an inspiration to so many. I was just saying this morning on the Zoom call to everyone that she's just an inspiration to me whenever she opens her mouth, and I'm so grateful to have her here with us this morning. Her mission is to serve those who serve. Such a wonderful, wonderful thought right now and always in our lives. You can go to marthacreek.com if you want a little more of her. She's got videos, podcasts, all sorts of stuff up, really great stuff. And you can join us this afternoon right after the service for her workshop this morning. So without further ado, Martha, take it away.
Hello, everybody. It's wonderful to be with you. I'm absolutely privileged to do this. I'm also noticing I'm really missing being in person more and more this week. And my trips out there to Palo Alto, and if you're listening and you've never heard of Palo Alto, it's a fantastic place to visit and be. And this spiritual center there, when we're on the other side of this, is definitely a place you want to get on your radar. So whoever you are listening to this, get in there and see what this is about and see what this energy that folks are talking about. And it seems whimsical to think about a sermon on gratitude today, particularly with this bunch and there. And I got a sense and a feeling that if you're listening to this talk, you're already well practiced in gratitude. So let's look at just dialing it up. Even if I'm already grateful, you're like, oh my God, I got 35,000 pages in my gratitude book. Oh, I got 35,000 journals full of gratitude. Oh, I've read Sarah's book 85,212 times. So what? So let's look today at, okay, I'm practicing gratitude. Gratitude before me. Gratitude behind me. Gratitude above me. Gratitude below me. Okay. Now, here's the greatest news of the day, maybe. You don't have to be grateful for what you're not grateful for. You do not have to be grateful for what you're not grateful for. No sane person wakes up and goes, oh my God, today I've got to be grateful for all the knuckleheads in my life. It's like, I can't even. If I could, they wouldn't be knuckleheads, would they? If I could be grateful for them, they wouldn't be knuckleheads. They'd be my endeared ones. So I don't have to be grateful for what I'm not grateful for yet. So that's where I am. That's where I am in an evolutionary process. That's where I am in a human learning process that says, hey, I'm generally grateful. I practice gratitude. I'm devoted to gratitude. And there's some things that absolutely some things that do not make my tail wag yet. So I'm just grateful for what I'm grateful for. And I'm not yet grateful for some things that were hurtful, painful, things that challenge me. So I don't have to try to be grateful for those. Is that a relief to hear it? And it's not up to me. I have no authority over you. But as you listen to this, check in with your own soul, check in with your own Godhead, the aspect of you that says, oh my God, it's hopeless to try to be grateful for what I'm not grateful for. It says, okay, I'll just get me off the hook. Let me get me off the spit of that and say, I'm going to be grateful for what I have, what I can, what I have got to experience. And I'm going to keep dialing up the luminosity on that and throw in the towel at trying to be grateful for all things or everything, particularly in the time that we're in right now. And I love the word. I've been practicing this since I was a little kid. I was shown, many of you have heard it, I was shown as a little kid 2 visions for my particular life. My life in the human, my life in the incarnate. And it was, the giant key was gratitude and the other one, forgiveness. And I find that they're very, very interrelated. As the more I forgive and even forgive that I can't forgive, and I forgive, then I'm grateful then for what I had. And in a bigger perspective, I'm grateful that I didn't get certain things. I'm grateful that that's not been in my experience also. So I find them very, very intertwined. I also was referring to a teacher in Unity called Eric Butterworth, who was an iconic Unity minister. He wrote several books, and Discover the Power Within You, The Universe is Calling, and other things. And Oprah Winfrey, Maya Angelou refers to Eric Butterworth's teaching as when they had an internal shift, when they got new awarenesses, when they became aware of the teachings that many of us seek to understand and to deepen our understanding in through Unity and religious science and Centers for Spiritual Living and New Thought. That's not really a new thought. And one of his things that he said is that people would ask him that they want to hear a talk on gratitude. And he would be like, a talk on gratitude? I mean, the idea is that it encompasses all things. It's not something. It's not a situation to have gratitude for. It's not something, but the whole idea of gratitude and thanksgiving, and we're in the month of it, Thanksgiving, thanks living, thanksgiving and giving thanks has been based up until now on some kind of external orientation, toward life that says, if I get the invitation to the party, I'll be grateful. It's like, well, what if you don't get invited? The loss of that, true loss in some cases, like not getting included or invited, could really be painful. And then later, as you grow up and maybe mature hair, we realize, wait a minute, I didn't even want an invitation. So not getting the invitation, our response can be, whoo, I was spared. But not if we're claiming we want the invitation. Like we don't extend gratitude for like, grateful if they ask me, grateful if they don't. And to not try to bypass the grief of the loss and the change of that. So instead now, this gratitude shift hopefully can be that we are no longer dependent on our 3-year-old operating system, the 3-year-old in us running our show, the 4-year-old in us running our show that says, I'll be happy, 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 and fulfilled and grateful when certain things in my life are all in order. And I'll be happy and fulfilled when it goes my way. Well, what's the chances? And if our peace and our joy or our happiness is hinging on that, we're sabotaging ourselves in that. And then other traditions even put gratitude out to be grateful, for example, that like it's got to be learned. Like it's an act of piety. And that we should settle. We should settle for what we've got. We should settle for less or settle for lack. Or even what I consider crazy notions after I've given about 30 years invested in attempts to navigate this differently, that I ought to be happy for my losses, or I ought to be happy for my mistakes, or I ought to be happy for my hurts. And it's like, I'm not yet. And if you are, God bless you. And, we'll plan your ascension. We won't do the workshop this afternoon. We'll plan your ascension and just video it. So all these financial woes will be over for people too. So like this gratitude then is then not being so dependent on something outside of us, and not holding out for my reward will be when I'm grateful for what I can't be grateful for. And how in the meantime, being grateful for what I am grateful for and practicing gratitude, daily practicing gratitude, and way beyond the words, way beyond the affirmations and the platitudes about gratitude, but the embodiment of gratitude. Embodiment of an attitude of gratitude, not a concept or a notion about an attitude of gratitude, but an embodiment of this. And then to admit that I certainly can be grateful for certain things. I can certainly be grateful for what I have to be grateful for. And there's things I'm not yet grateful for. Willing to be grateful, willing to see a blessing, willing to see, and sometimes I can't see it yet, and not to spiritually bypass that or even make any attempt to. So then think about the word itself and an attitude then of gratitude, to just get a hair of a different framework around this to dial up our luminosity about this. If we saw it as an attitude of greatness, G-R-E-A-T, greatness. So that if grateful means greatness, thankful means thankfulness. then it deals, in other words, with something within us, something within you, not something outside of us, not a circumstance, not a situation, not getting our way. So in a human sense, then we can say, well, what do I have to give thanks for? Well, there's the only power in that question is in answering it. What do I have to give thanks for? What have I gotten to experience in this life to give thanks for? And then it shifts us even out of some notion like, do I have a job that's worthy of my gratitude? Do I have love and friendliness around me that's worthy of my grateful or being grateful? So what if we may not can give thanks for all of the job or all that goes with the job or the knuckleheads in the job? But we can give thanks for something. We can give thanks for what the job provides for us. We can give thanks that it's in alignment with our gifts, my gifts, and what I can bring forth. So there's something to give grateful for. So to have a new insight that thankfulness and gratitude are dealing now, starting today, purely with our inner state, an inner state of our mind, that they deal with an inner flow, that they deal with a relationship to divinity, a relationship to God, a relationship to divine process. And that life as consciousness, God as consciousness, that when we have a consciousness that is related to certain things, then we're dependent on that and tied to that and entangled in that, versus having a consciousness that gives expression and includes inclusivity for all things. A consciousness that includes all things. Whether we can be grateful for it or not, it's included. Then we then live and express from this as the foundation of our life. As changeless, as eternal, as infinite. And even though we go through all matters of difficulties, all sorts of difficulties, it does not change the basic truth of life. If we believe these teachings, that God is in all things, God is the one power and the one presence in and as all things, that I am one with that I'm a spiritual being and I can't do anything about it. I am a spiritual being. And that my new understandings of these teachings and my applications of these teachings through reflection and contemplation and meditation shifts my relationship with it. Spiritual practice. And then how to apply it. So think about today. I thought this morning, I've got a quote here from Deepak Chopra. Many of you have read him, I bet, in his books for many of years, decades of this even. And I had a chance to be with him again after many years. And I thought about my gratefulness, my gratitude for him, all these books and the teachings and all these hours I listened back in the 80s, driving up and down the road to his teaching, and how I had to turn my Deepak Chopra ears on because I couldn't understand it very well. But I knew it was something was there for me. Here's the quote. Peel away all the layers of an onion, and at the center, you'll find emptiness. Peel away all the layers of a human being, and at the center, you'll find the seed of God. So through all the difficulties, through all the trials, through all the tribulations, through it all, the seed of God calling us, calling me, calling you into a deeper relationship with this. And at times when we can't find much in life to be happy about or to be grateful for, I can be aware of this inner flow to see the basic presence, the basic power, the basic happiness, the basic gratitude that I have doesn't depend on something outside of me. Doesn't depend on circumstances or people doing nice things or getting a raise. But it's going to be based on today and every single day what I make up my mind to be about it. And to look at the meaning that I have ascribed before and to say it's a false meaning, and I'm going to reascribe that meaning. So in the larger sense, then we are only as grateful as we make up our minds to be. We're only as thankful and therefore only in greatness that we make up our minds to be. So we do not need something to be happy about. We can be happy because we are a divine being, because we're in tune with life, because we have a sense of it. We do not need something to be grateful for when we can be grateful because of a feel of fullness of greatness, a fullness of providence. Grateful for a consciousness of oneness with God, with oneness with Creator, with life, with universe, whatever you call it. So we can be grateful not just for all the blessings, not just for what we do have and all of our blessings, not just for the people, not just for our people in our life and how the people treat us, not just for the abundance that God has wrought, but we can also be grateful from the consciousness that we are eternal, that we are ceaseless, infinite, and then to live our lives more in tune, attuned with that, in wonder, in awe. And then we give expression to it when we release it, when we open to this way, a new way. Behold. To live a life of behold. Behold what is true. Behold what I am. Behold what I have. And Elizabeth Browning said it as, whence the imprisoned splendor may escape. Whence the imprisoned splendor may escape. Whence? Today. So it's not a reaction. It's not a response even. It's creative. It's causative, generative. Therefore, a spiritual practice. A practice of prayer and praying that way. Praying from the consciousness of God. To be still. To know the oneness with God. As the reality of our heart, the heart of you, the heart of me. To pray from that. And to pray powerful, aware of the power of our words. To pray then in praise, in appreciation, conferring blessings to myself, to others, to people out of that consciousness. And in the same vein then, to cultivate an attitude of greatness, an attitude of gratitude that cultivates a consciousness of this oneness, this thankfulness. And to listen to this. Wouldn't it be great if? Wouldn't it be wonderful if that wasn't there? Wouldn't it be wonderful if they wouldn't do that? And it's like hopeless. So not to continue to sabotage myself in the what ifs. So then I'm back into the creative process, back in alignment with divine intelligence, back in the awareness that there's a flow in me that's infinite and eternal, that cannot be threatened, and that I'm spiritually practicing then, bringing forth that expression of that greatness. Knowing that gratitude and spiritual practice of gratitude lays hold of things. Behold, causative, generative, deliberate, laying hold of new experiences, new circumstances from an entirely different level, from an entirely different consciousness. As Emerson said it, as from the highest point of view. To see things from a highest point of view. So the whole insight then is that gratitude is not at all tied to changing circumstances, to what happens out there, but as a consciousness of who I am, what I am, a consciousness of oneness and of your own greatness as a spiritual being, your own greatness as you are. Even though you're mad and frustrated and afraid and panicked and terrorized, it's all right. I'm still great. There's still greatness in there. There's greatness even in that. And then if some of these disciples were right, Paul said it as in all things. In all things. Then I say to Paul, you be grateful for all things, Paul. I'm not grateful for all things yet. I'm going to be grateful, though, for what I can. And I'm going to be more and more conscious about this, more and more practiced in this. And notice Paul didn't say for all things. He didn't say be grateful for all things. Paul said be grateful in all things. See if there's a difference to you. To have a sense of gratitude, not something you give. To have a sense of gratitude, a presence of gratitude, regardless of the conditions. So to begin with gratitude in this sense, and take a breath today. Take a minute. And think about and reflect on as we go into this meditation. As we bring these teachings, these ideas, this new understanding into embodiment. So call to mind something in the world that makes your tail wag. What is it? Something that causes you happiness, to be happy or happier. What is it? And something that causes you to smile. Who causes you to smile? What causes you to smile? And recall a teacher, someone that's been your teacher. Someone that spoke truth to you, someone that knew the truth of you and held it. Who would you be grateful for and with today? Remember something that you love to smell. You love to smell it. What is it you love to smell? And what's something that is your favorite color? That has your favorite color in it? What would that be? And try to remember one thing that you love looking upon, something you love looking at, a photo or a painting or a tree, a view, a sunset. What do you love looking at? And find something in nature that you're thankful for. The berries on the tree, a pink. And think about a gift, something somebody's done for you or given you that you cherish, that's a real treasure. And in this time of silence, what else would you say thanks for? And big deep breath. And get a sense of internally referencing gratefulness, a great fullness as you, from you, through you. And living it out, living from that. And we give great thanks for this pause today, this awakening, this remembering, and we sing the Alleluia in thanksgiving and thanks living.
Thank you, Margot. Thank you, Martha. I am so excited to start the idea of thanks living. Let us now turn to a time of affirmative prayer. As we hold in our hearts and prayers all of our prayer requests in our prayer chest, and if there is someone who you hold in prayer, I invite you to say their name out loud or bring their name to mind. Let us also hold all of the people who have suffered and been affected by COVID-19, all of the first responders and caregivers supporting them in our hearts and affirmative prayers. We affirm that divine work and divine love is doing its perfect work in every situation, revealing the spiritual magnificence in each person and establishing spiritual wholeness now. We hold our world, national, state, and local leaders in that same prayer, praying for wise and loving decisions for peace on earth, goodwill, equality, and justice for all people. We affirm that divine love is doing its perfect work now. And so it is. And now for our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Love and blessings. Go out and do what makes your tail wag.
MarthaCreek.com if I can support you. Blessings.